We are one day away from the official reveal of Modern Warfare 2, and of course, there can't be a single day where there isn't any leaked information regarding Modern Warfare 2, and that's exactly what we got yesterday by a guy named Ralph's Valve over on Twitter. He created an article talking about how there is going to be some sort of Call of Duty map editor, which is quite interesting, and so I am pretty much just going to read word for word of what he said on his article, and I'm just going to leave it there, and so let's listen to what he has to say. Now, both Infinity Ward and Treyarch have plans with producing a community-led effort incorporating an offline mode, equipping players with the necessary tools for blocking out, mapping, and editing an already existing map, making relatively simple changes with a focus on altering the gameplay experience, paving the way for creatives to create. Modified maps will allow each creator the option of customizing spawn points, objectives, and restrictions, with the addition of completing changing the scenery of a level and its individual properties, such as crates and containers. Altered maps will be closely regulated. If a creator is approved, they will receive a verified checkmark. Development for this mode was made fairly early in development, originally proposed and presented throughout Modern Warfare 2019's lifecycle, with an emphasis on player experience. Infinity Ward plans to also involve the community in an effort by the studio to produce the ultimate playing experience. And at the very end, Ralph also said, in addition to this newly formed sandbox, Treyarch intends to have it incorporated heavily into their unannounced free-to-play titles slated for 2023. I do find it interesting how Treyarch is coming out with a free-to-play title in 2023. We knew that we're not going to get a premium Call of Duty title in 2023, but it looks like we are getting a free-to-play one. And from what Ralph says, this sandbox, this map editor feature is going to be heavily implemented within that free-to-play title. So I don't know if we are going to be seeing this in Modern Warfare 2. We have heard that a sandbox type mode is actually coming to Modern Warfare 2, and so there's a good chance that this map editor will actually be there, but it's also promising to hear that this has been in development since Modern Warfare 2019 came out. And the fact that you can like just change up spawn points and objectives, and of course using certain restrictions of areas and maybe you can't access to, I think could really change the way on how maps are played, because like even Ralph said this at the beginning of his article that I didn't read out loud to you guys, but it's maps are a huge thing in Call of Duty. Like, it pretty much almost makes or breaks the multiplayer to the person playing it, right? Because the maps are a huge reason of what keeps people playing Call of Duty for the most part. If you don't enjoy playing on the map, then you're not going to enjoy playing the multiplayer experience. And so seeing how we're finally getting some sort of map editor within Call of Duty is pretty awesome. It's something that I never really saw coming, even though we have seen it before in other video games. Like Halo, for example, used to have a Forge mode. I don't know if they added it within Halo Infinite recently, but they said they were, and I'm not sure if it's in the game yet. But regardless, Forge mode has been in Halo for years now. We've had it on the Xbox 360, for goodness sakes. Here we are, how many generation of consoles later? We have the Xbox Series X now. It can more than handle like some sort of feature like that within the video game. It just depends on how well the developers actually create it, I suppose. And so I think this is an awesome feature, and it totally lines up with what we've been hearing recently about how Call of Duty is returning to Steam. And this is a pretty big deal, considering on Steam, when you download games, you have the option to go into the workshop and download some community created mods to get a more enhanced gameplay experience. Like Black Ops 3 Zombies is insane, and same with World at War Zombies. They play a huge role on Steam, and now that we see Call of Duty coming back onto Steam, this really shows that this is going to somehow relate with this whole map editing feature. We can play community created maps and try them out, and perhaps there will be like contests for people to make like the best maps possible, and they can actually get put in as like a permanent map in like a future Call of Duty title or something. That would be so sick if they could do things like that, and it totally brings in a whole new different kind of players to show off their creativity. Because I know for example, Dr. Disrespect, he actually made some maps within Advanced Warfare. I don't know if you guys know that. I believe Solar was one of the maps that he helped actually create, and honestly Solar is like one of my favorite maps. So seeing how people who play the game every day, they understand understand like the great, like how good the map flows and like how like basically the game works in and out. And so if the community can create their own maps, then we can get some really good content within future Call of Duty titles. The biggest problem I have with this map editor feature is how well is it actually gonna work? Is it actually gonna be fully polished when we first get it? Probably not. And I kind of want to compare it to theater mode that we've seen in previous Call of Duty titles. I'm sure a lot of you are aware what theater mode is, but usually Treyarch are the ones who have it within their games. We see it within Black Ops Cold War, Black Ops 4, literally ever since Black Ops came out, they've had theater mode. And you don't really see the other developers implement this into their games, and it's usually because not too many people actually use theater mode. However, the point I'm trying to get at here is that theater mode has been performing pretty badly within the recent Call of Duty titles. It seems like Black Ops 2 might have been its peak when of like how effectively theater mode actually worked. I remember Black Ops 3, there were some issues and then they fixed them, and then theater mode started working great in Black Ops 3, but then Black Ops 4 came out and I've had lots of issues with it and it was annoying. And then Black Ops Cold War was just a huge buggy mess on like how theater mode worked, and it just got really annoying, honestly. And seeing how that it didn't seem like Treyarch was really focusing on having theater mode being polished. Do they have this type of feature being polished? I imagine they would, because this is a lot, I would say, a little bit more important than a theater mode after all. However, I just really do hope it's polished when we do get this for the first time. It's just something that just really bothers me within the Call of Duty scene. Like Vanguard itself, the whole game itself is a great example of a game not being polished, and it still isn't to this day, which is really upsetting. And so I just, I think they're coming out with some great ideas based on what we've heard from leaks and rumors. A map editor sounds like a fantastic idea, but I wonder, like, what are the limits? Like, what are the limits with it? Is it going to be like really simple when it comes to like only using existing maps? Because that's what Ralph says here. He says we're using already existing maps and just changing them to like come up with a different kind of gameplay experience, essentially. And I assume this is just the small stepping stone that we're going to see in the future when it comes to creating our own maps, which I can definitely see being the case eventually. And so, but nonetheless, though, I am really curious how this is actually going to end up in the Call of Duty scene. I cannot wait to see what people come up with. You already know people are going to like create something that already exists, like the Krusty Krab from SpongeBob or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, awesome. Call of Duty map editor. It sounds like it might be coming to Modern Warfare 2 just because this sounds like kind of a sandbox feature in it. I think Call of Duty already confirmed we're having a sandbox feature in Modern Warfare 2. And so it'll be really interesting to see how that works. But yeah, I'll make sure to keep you guys up to date on this information. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you are up to date with more Modern Warfare 2 news and information, and of course other Call of Duty news updates as well. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I shall catch you guys later.